everybody, today I am in Carmel, Indiana, on the north side of Indianapolis. Super popular suburb, and actually it's a city in and of itself. It's a little over 100,000 people or so in Carmel, so it's actually a little bigger than what a lot of people think. But Carmel actually has several different parts to it, and today I'm in the far northwest corner of Carmel. So we're gonna get into just kind of how this place is a little bit different compared to the rest of Carmel and see what's going on out here, so stay tuned. Hey everybody, I'm Jason Compton with the Compton Home Group. Welcome back to the channel. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know everything there is to know about Carmel, Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, or any of the surrounding metro, then make sure you hit that subscribe button. Also tap that little bell so you're notified every time we do a new video. Now we have people reaching out to us from all over the country with questions about Carmel, Indiana, Indianapolis, Indiana, Fishers, Indiana, Westfield, Indiana, Greenwood, Indiana, Avon, Indiana, you name it, they have questions about it. So if you have questions at all about any area around Indianapolis or Indianapolis itself, don't hesitate to reach out to us any way that you know how. We'll always have your back with those questions, and we'll certainly have your back whenever it comes time for you to make your move to the Indy Metro. So today, again, I'm in Carmel, Indiana, on the far northwest side, and on a beautiful day actually, but this particular part of Carmel is definitely pretty different. So Carmel is divided up, not officially really, into some different parts. And when people ask about Carmel, first, if they don't know much about it, it's almost always bigger than what they thought, at a little over 100,000 people, and just geographically, it's pretty large, honestly. So if you go from the far west end to the far east end, it's 15 or 16 miles or so. So it's pretty wide, and it takes a little time to get from one side to the other. Now going from the north to the south, it's roughly 96th Street, which borders Carmel and Indianapolis on the south end. And then if you were to go north up to 146th Street, that's basically the border between Carmel and Westfield, just to the north. So, north to south, it's really not all that deep. It's a handful of miles or so, but east to west, it's actually bigger than what most think. So I am in the far northwest corner here, which is kind of the newer part of Carmel. And I would say that if you're taking a look at Carmel on the east side, that's the more established, older Carmel, and it's going to give you a really different feel than some of the other parts of Carmel. It's exceptionally popular. People love older Carmel because a lot of the homes are older, the neighborhoods are older, you're gonna have plenty of older growth trees, you'll have sidewalks in the neighborhoods. Not that you're not gonna have sidewalks in some of the neighborhoods in other parts of Carmel, but it has that more established feel. Now with that, you can get homes that were built, let's say in the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s. And while 90s doesn't really sound all that old, at this point, that's 30 years old, and it's gonna be pushing a little bit more than that really soon. So the homes do have some age, and that means you have a lot of them that are probably outdated. They're from the 90s, from the 80s, 70s, and maybe even a little bit before that. And some of the homes haven't been updated. But because of the location, you're still probably going to pay a little bit more for those homes. It's very popular. Not a lot of new construction in East Carmel. There's a little bit here and there, but it's pretty landlocked, and you don't have a lot of opportunity to put anything new unless you tear down what was existing in the first place. So that's the older eastern portion of Carmel. And then you've got Midtown, Downtown, kind of in the center, and that is a very well-known part of Carmel because that's where the Arts and Design District's located. And the Arts and Design District is just awesome, and been there for a number of years. There's still some construction going on there where it's still being developed. The Monon Trail goes right through the Arts and Design District, and the Monon Trail is the trail. It's close to 30 miles in length or so. It originates downtown Indianapolis, and it goes all the way through Indianapolis to the north, through Carmel, through Westfield, and north of Westfield. And it's still continuing to grow as well. Super cool trail. It goes right through that Arts and Design District. And then you get to the west of that, essentially west of US 31, which is Meridian Street in Indianapolis. But it turns into US 31, or it's called US 31 as it goes through Carmel and Westfield and then on north all the way up to South Bend, Indiana. So when you get west of that, Carmel is a little newer. And if you want new construction or a home that was probably built inside the last 10 years, then your options are probably going to be on that particular side of Carmel. Now where I am today, and if you look behind me here, this is a relatively new neighborhood. We're talking really in the last 5 years or so. I am way northwest, and just kind of turning around here, looking back this way, it doesn't look like a whole lot's going on. In fact, there isn't right now. This particular road here is 146th Street. And it was once just a little 2-lane road going east-west, but because so much of Carmel is coming out this way, it's the only place that it really has to grow, 146th Street has to be widened. And it's not like a heavily traveled road right now, or will be in the near future, but it's a main artery going from east to west. So if I go just a little bit to the west of where I'm standing right now, there's a roundabout that's just been constructed. Imagine that in Carmel, a roundabout. I love those things. That's Shelbourne Road. So once you get to 146th Street in Shelbourne, if you go just west of that, you're essentially not in Carmel anymore. You're over in Zionsville, or pretty close to that. And you go just a little north of here, and you're in Westfield. So I'm really kind of in that absolute northwest corner. So when you're out here, looking at all of this, and we've driven with people out here looking at homes and like, yeah, I want new construction, I want Carmel. And so we end up out in this particular area, and we might go and see 4 or 5 homes, let's say, or some of the new build sites. I think, good grief, this feels like it's out in the middle of nowhere. Am I near anything at all? And I think that's either a good thing or sometimes could be a bad thing. I think it's kind of on the good side is that you can get an exceptionally nice home in an incredibly nice area of Carmel, but it's not going to be a real city feel right now like East Carmel would be. East Carmel is very established. It's a lot more dense. The traffic isn't terrible, but you're certainly going to have a lot more traffic than you do out here in Northwest Carmel for sure. And this eventually will get more crowded as the years go by, but right now it's just not that way at all. So it's gonna give you that feel of being a little bit more spread out, even though, you know, maybe your homes, like in this new construction neighborhood right behind me, it's not like they're right on top of one another, but they're not exactly really far apart either. You're not gonna have acres and acres of property, anything like that. But out here, it'll give you that feel that, oh man, I don't feel like I'm close to anything at all, but the truth is you really are. You're still only within a few minutes, really, of getting to anything that you're probably going to need. If you go just to the south of here in Shelbourne and just to the east, you get into Village of West Clay, which is an incredibly nice neighborhood in Carmel. But they have a little village there in Village of West Clay. There's a few things going on in there, a couple of different restaurants. There's a brewery in there, Danny Boy Brewery. Pretty cool little spot, but not too far from that. If you go over just to the west, you get to 421, which is Michigan Road in Indianapolis, but it's US 421 truly as it goes outside of Indianapolis. That's just as commercial as it gets. So you need a Home Depot, you need a Super Target, you need a grocery store. I mean, Super Target would have a grocery store in it too, but you've got everything right over that way. And honestly, just to the east of here, if you go down 146th Street, now it's going to be just a little bit of distance. I don't think you could probably ride your bike or walk, but you go just a little distance, maybe just a few miles, and then you get to US 31 and 146th Street. And that is a big commercial hub as well. So there's a Lowe's there, you've got another Target over there, and you've got a Best Buy. I mean, you've got everything you can kind of possibly think of through there with Hobby Lobby, several other stores and fast food and restaurants. It's just a commercial hub, no doubt. And then if you go just a little bit north of here, let's say up to 161st Street, which is in Westfield now, but that's actually a lot closer truly than some of the other places around here in Carmel. You go a little bit to the east, Uptown Road and 161st. There's quite a lot of new construction going on right through there, but you travel a little bit east on 161st through some of that new construction in Westfield. Westfield is another place where it's just booming with new construction neighborhoods, and they're putting up very, very nice neighborhoods and very nice homes. But a little bit east of there on Spring Mill Road, that's another commercial hub. It's not as big as some of the other ones are, but you're definitely going to get a Kroger there. You have gas stations, you got Starbucks, you've got things that you can use and need on a daily basis. So while it has this particular kind of feel out here in Northwest Carmel, you're still close to things, and it's just when you're driving from neighborhood to neighborhood, it just may not feel like that. So again, that could be a positive to make it feel like you're kind of out there and you're a little bit more spread out. It's not as dense. If you look at Indianapolis and Carmel, they have about the same density as far as the population is concerned. 2,500 or so people per square mile, which is nowhere near the density of a place like New York City or Los Angeles. So it's already not going to feel as crowded in those places, but you'll certainly have a little bit more traffic and more people as compared to a place like this. Now, eventually, like I said, it's going to get more dense. It's going to get more traffic, but that's years away. And then some of those commercial hubs, those places where you're gonna anchor your day-to-day needs, those are gonna come out this way a little bit more too, but you're really never that far from it. So if you're thinking about moving to Carmel or want to move to Carmel and you want that new construction or a much newer home, this is going to be really one of your bigger options. If you're looking more specifically like Arts and Design District, gonna be very, very spotty. You're gonna have a few here and there, but it's gonna be tough. Get over to East Carmel, again, very spotty. spotty. Not gonna have all that many, and it's gonna be difficult. Out here in West Carmel, and especially Northwest, you're gonna have more opportunities. Once you get outside of Carmel, you'll have more opportunities. So if you're more geographically open to newer homes and you don't have to have Carmel, you've got another place in mind, then you'll definitely have more options. But this is kind of what you're looking at with Northwest Carmel. So if you think this is great, fantastic. If you think this is a little bit too out there for me, or at least has that, when it's not, it really isn't, but it has that too out there feel for me, it may not be that good an option for you. So this will change though over the years, and we'll have to see how that fits people for sure. Now, if you have any questions at all about Carmel, Northwest Carmel, or another part of Carmel, Indiana, then don't hesitate to reach out. And until the next one, we'll see you later.